Okay, yeah. We are live, I think. Hey everybody, welcome all to this webinar, and very excited to host it and then bring Mehul and Devraj to all of you. So, FinTech obviously is like something that has been growing leaps and bounds. At Scaler, we hear every day from a lot of our learners, like, how to get into FinTech and what does working in FinTech look like. And obviously, like, uh, last, I think, couple of years, I have seen the number of companies in the unicorns in the fintech space just growing like 50, 100, like that. So, very excited I am to ask a lot of questions to people who know a lot more than me about this space. So, I'd just like to introduce both of them. We have with us Mehul, who comes with more than 30 years of experience in software engineering. He has studied from BITS Pilani and University of Massachusetts and has worked at places like Amazon, Yahoo, Bharat Matrimony, and currently he's VP of Engineering at Yubi. Hey, welcome, Mehul.
Hey, thank you.
Hi. And we also have with us Devraj, who also has 20 plus years of experience in software engineering, has worked at Mindtree and Gain Credit before this, and is known for his proficiency in IT strategy and innovation, who also is a VP of engineering at UB. Hey, hi, Devraj.
Hi, Arnav. Hi, all.
So to start off with, I think the first question which either of you can pick up would be just the very basic is like in terms of what does UB do as a fintech company? A short answer on that.
Okay, I'll take first shot at that. So Yubi is in the business, is a marketplace for enabling enterprise loans, and enterprise loans of different types. So they could be for expansion, they could be for supply chain financing, they could just be a business loan. And along with this, we also powering co-lending as a separate way of getting things done. We're also moving into other areas as we speak. But the primary goal for UB is to make sure that money flow to businesses, to small businesses, medium businesses, is made easier.
Got it.
Just to add, maybe other people who are new to fintech or fintech terms may be there, because I was like that some time ago. Just for them to understand, UB is like more like you go to Amazon. What you do in Amazon, you buy some consumer products, or you can even sell some consumer products. Correct? That's for the end users, and then you can do that. That's what they call it as a marketplace. So similarly, for the enterprises or for bigger financial institutions, NBFCs or non-banking financial companies or banks, this is a marketplace where they come and then put their products, financial products. There are several financial products. Probably common man will be less aware of all those. Whatever Mahul sir was saying, co-lending, pool, securitization, so many things. So, and there'll be other people who require those products. Financial products are nothing but some ways of raising money or rotating money. So, for example, the simpler thing all of us know is loans. We all want loans. So you, instead of going to a particular bank and ask for a loan, you come here and then you'll be seeing all the bank's loans, but not for end users more, but for the enterprises. A company wants to get a loan, they need not go and then get inside each bank and then they try to process everything, and then they come to UB. UB will be connected to several banks, and it will let you choose what are all the different options that the banks are giving, and you can choose. So like this, there are several financial products. How UB is evolving is not just as a marketplace, rather it is evolving as a operating platform for financial products. So instead of banks reaching the enterprises and then other customers and then having different products and then having to build that, they can start building using this. So it becomes more than a simple marketplace, and it becomes an infrastructure for the financial ecosystem.
Got it. That's very interesting, kind of a thing to work on. Uh, and my I think follow-up question would be in sort of the tech side of fintech, right? Uh, and I mean, software is okay, taking data from one place to another, storing it, doing some business logic, maybe building an API and some dashboard where people will use it. That's what we understand with software. But in particularly context of financial services, what's special in fintech? What's special in the tech part of fintech? Is there any special sauce? Any things you need to do differently in tech in your space?
So, from my perspective, what you described is, a good part of what we do. It's not very different. Tech is similar. That we do deal with a lot of data. Data is actually extremely important for us. The treatment of data. So we have one is just the pure security and privacy aspects. Then we also have all these regulations. So, for example, PII data cannot be displayed without consent. For example, redaction of the Aadhaar card, Aadhaar numbers. So we have a lot of those kind of constraints that we have to make sure that we don't breach, because these are regulatory things from the RBI and Government of India. So one part is that, and in our space, trust is one of the most important currencies that we have. So we have to make sure that we don't breach on anywhere on that. So whatever software, whatever engineering practices we have to be mindful that security is definitely on at the top of the list of everything that we do. That's one. Another way where, like in my experience, what I see different requirements for fintech is a lot of customizations that are needed by the lending organizations. So they have workflows that they're used to, and they want to recreate those same workflows on our platform. Now, doing it one at a time for every bank, writing software for every bank is it's not a scalable model. So we're looking at how do we move into configuring the workflows and have a workflow engine sort of enabling that. Reporting is another big area that's important in the financial world. So the kind of reporting engines we use, the kind of flexibility it provides, the way people are able to pull their data and analyze it to make decisions, and that's one more area that's different. We also are moving into more of the data sciences, so where we can sort of infer or machine learn information from the data and make it available to the lenders or borrowers, makes it easier for them to act on it. So essentially reducing their turnaround time, which they spend on researching otherwise.
Excellent. I mean, he covered almost all the points. Just to summarize or make it little simple, or for people to remember, in fintech, though the technologies that we use are same like in any other tech companies and other things, there are some special things that we need to look at when we choose a technology for a fintech, or how we want to do it, because finance is no more like a finance companies or finance. It's more driven by tech nowadays. I mean, everyone knows that. Like, even if you go and buy a flower, the lady says that, do you have UPI? Pay me in that. So with this fast growth, the technology and the tools that we use in fintechs are going to use has got a specific thing. I just try to summarize my teams using a simple abbreviation called SCIENCE, the science of selecting the technologies for fintech. So SCIENCE is an abbreviation. S for security, whatever Mahul has said now, that is most important. It should be a reliable tech, sometimes certified for the geos, what they ask, tested and trusted. So that's the most important thing that we check each and every tech before we take it inside. Whether it's a small library that you add, or a big tool or a component that you want to add, that will be undergoing a lot of scrutiny. Second thing in science is C, right? C is compliance or compliant. There are several governing bodies are there which we need to be compliant with, whether it is PA or any other compliance or international compliance. All those things we need to make sure that we are abiding by that. even when choosing a data center or a cloud, where it is hosted, all those things are important. So the second thing comes is compliance or compliant. And third thing is SEI, right? So I is for interoperability. That is, whatever the tech you use or choose, that should be interoperable with the ecosystem. So it's not just you take something which is a closed system. FinTech, all the FinTech works in tandem. So they talk to each other. They talk to internal systems. They talk to external systems. There is no single independent system that is running in FinTech. You'll be talking to so many things. So these things should be more friendly towards interoperable. The tech that you choose. For example, you are choosing some other service. It should be API driven. It should fit in the ecosystem. Third thing is efficiency, which every tech they try to evaluate, whether it is total cost of ownership is there, or it is scalable with performance, with distributed systems, whether it is doing well, all the NFRs, or time to market is fast. It should be efficient. Third is the nuances. There are several things that you may want to build over and above what is being you are choosing. So is it very easy to get the customer feedbacks? Is it very easy to do a POC, and then you should have attention to details. For example, there was one small thing which we did. We chose not now, some few years ago in a FinTech where I was working. We chose a very, very big brand, saying that, okay, this is very nice service that we need to do, email sending service, okay, because we wanted to do it very fast. At the end, we found it was not allowing us to send programmatically with attachments. So attention to details is very important when you choose a tech in this, and it should be competitive. You should be knowing that what return on investment that you are getting, how feature rich it is, and then there should not be any vendor lock-ins, saying that, okay, I use this, and then I'll not be able to come out with this. And it should allow you to evolve. That's the last E, which you should be able to adopt it, and you should be able to exit it, and there should be a support and upgrades also to continue your business. So in short, you need to be a little more careful in choosing FinTech technologies. That we try to do it with a name called Science, or Science of Choosing Technology for FinTech.
That's nice. I love the abbreviation. It sort of definitely helps people keep all of these values in mind. While we're discussing about like what tech stack to choose in FinTech, and then because one of the questions that came in the comments just reminded me of this, and a lot of times because I'm teaching also, students often ask that in the FinTech world, the BFSI sector, everybody is using Java. Like most e-com and other OTT, these kind of sectors, people are moving into Golang, or they're at least starting off with things like Django, Node.js, and then they move to Golang. But go to the banking world, everybody's using Java. So, is there a particular reason behind that?
See, okay, Mahul sir can go, then I can.
So there's a couple of reasons, right? One is Java as a technology has been around for a long time, and when it's been around for a long time, it gets baked better. So that's one aspect of it. It doesn't mean other technologies are necessarily, not good, but you just have more faith in this, and there's a bigger community around this. And the second, more practical reason is it's easy to find people who know Java. Right, so we start using multiple technology stacks, and say a lot of the newer ones. It might be okay to build it, but if we have to find people to support it post a certain period of time, it might become a challenge. In this way, people are a little bit more fungible, so we can use the same skill set in different areas.
See, the interesting fact that I'm observing is, at least I had been in finance, insurance, and other technologies for a decade. Initially, it was there, as Arnav said, it was people were more towards Java. It was true, but today, if you see, it's not true. If you take the data and see, there are several fintechs which are using Ruby on Rails, Golang, and Java also. Okay, and the trend is changing. I know UK fintechs which are running with Python. and Django. Their default choice is that. They say that, yes, this is what works for us. Trend is changing, but I don't disagree to a point that, yes, Java is been a de facto choice of traditional people who want to say that, yes, I want to go to Java. But let me tell a little of my experience in working all these things. I had a chance to work with all these stacks. When compared to Java, Python, or Ruby on Rails and Golang, or all the latest technologies that are coming out, there is a catch. I mean, new technologies allow you to do things faster, easier. Ruby on Rails guy will do it with 10 lines of code. The same thing, the Java guy will be using 50, 100 lines, or he may try to do it. So they get used to the easy way of doing things. So when they grow, they start supporting that. If you take a trade-off analysis between all these technologies, which one to choose, okay, you'll get confused, because almost everything is almost performing very well, except for few things where you need a very high response time in some milliseconds. Other than that, at least it has been a very decent competition between all these techs, and then they choose. The second drawback that I've seen is, but I will not attribute to the language though, is the maintainability. People come in Ruby and then they keep writing, okay, metadata, meta programming, and then they keep writing. Once you build as a big ball, your service becomes a big ball, then a new guy, as Mahul said, you don't have a Ruby guy, or you don't have a Golang guy. He comes and sees. It takes time for him to take it and then go run it through. They are more loosely typed, and there are so many other things. And in Java, traditionally people have been tamed to write it in a structured way, and you also have a lot of people, and then you are easily able to maintain. Nevertheless, my take is, whether it is Java, Golang, or Ruby, whatever it is, nowadays the engineers should see all those things as tools and do a good programming in any of these. Okay, you can screw up application in Java also if you don't write it properly and think through a design, and you can do a great application using Node.js also.
Makes sense. Another question I had was, because being sort of like a two-ended marketplace, lots of people are your consumers. Like somebody borrowing is also a user for you, somebody lending is also a user for you. Banks, you're partnering with them. So lots of different entities sort of talking to your systems. Right. From a tech perspective, also, like there'll be different needs for these different users, and you have to build tech accordingly. So how does like as a tech or a product team, how do you go out and understand the customer needs and challenges to be cognizant of that while you're building the tech?
I've been going first quite a few times.
Okay, let me go this way. See, understanding customers is the fundamental thing and the key thing. If you want to build a software in any industry, the two in FinTech, is very important. In Yubi, there is an excellent culture, which I like very much, is from CEO till a new joined engineer, we are exposed to the customer and interact with them, and then understand them well. An engineer in my team goes to Bombay, sits with the large bank, and understand how they use it, and then comes back and then writes a code. So the first thing that we encourage and push is understanding the customer, because there are several types of customers, right? From tech giants who have a lot of infrastructure to connect with us, and a small NBFC who just knows how all his operations is only in Excel. They just want to upload it in Excel. Okay, so understanding this customer, we first do a lot of customer connects with people, and our structure itself is, we call it as pods, or every function whichever works together works in a product. There'll be a product guy, there'll be a business guy, there'll be a DevOps guy, there'll be a customer support guy, who will all sit together and work as a product. They never think that, okay, I'm an engineering guy or I'm a customer support guy. And believe me, every week and fortnightly, there is a meeting which comes, what customer is thinking and what customer is talking to us, which is attended by all the CXO level till the engineer level. We keep hearing them very well, and then from there the features and other changes come up. So in short, to put it, the product design, tech choices, I would not say much, because customers are well heard through the product on how they use, how their experience is. So the user experience, UX team, the product team, design team, they are all very close. First level of input they get from the customers. From there, it converts as an NFR or a non-functional requirement, saying that, hey, this customer XYZ, this bank wants the response time in less than 200 milliseconds. That becomes an input to us. So they say that in 200 milliseconds, this API should work, and then it should go back to them. Then that gets converted, and then our guys work towards, okay, how do you make this so responsive or whatever you want to do to build that tech. So it's like continuously hearing the customer is the one important thing which we do, and that's what we think is our strength in adding several hundreds and thousands of enterprises into our ecosystem and keep growing.
So I'd also add that where we need to do deeper integrations, typically the lending side, we actually spend a good amount of time in understanding their the APIs that they have or the business process that they want to implement, and then we create APIs that directly link with their systems. Right. Now, to make this again more scalable, we are looking at like using low-code kind of solutions, either built in-house or we buy some part and we build on top of it. So with low-code, it becomes a lot quicker for us to be integrating with number of customers.
Absolutely. I think integration is a very, very important point, a touch point for our customers, because mostly our customers are in the two-sided market. It works more towards system to system. It's not some bank teller or somebody who is sitting there and then helping us. And the time to integrate, reducing that is an interesting problem for us, which we are solving. Previously, it was in days. Now it has come down to hours also in some cases, where the systems can generate their own set of APIs and map it and then try to integrate it. So that's a very interesting problem which we are solving. As engineers, I think that keeps us awake to think of various things and then build a solution.
So we also integrate with a lot of third-party data providers to get like say credit information, KYC, Aadhaar card validation, PAN card validation, loads of things. So here again, we have to integrate with all the disparate systems that are there. Right? Like somebody will give me an API that will say this is in-sync API. Somebody will say, this is an async, not in-sync, async. So we try to build abstraction layers on all of these so that the rest of the product, it appears the same. Somebody will give us XML data, somebody will give us JSON. So we have to deal with all of these kind of disparate different systems that are all valid, all fine, but we have to try and make that disparate system sort of appear homogeneous to the rest of our ecosystem. So a lot of those kind of integrations we have to keep doing.
And not just tech, right? Innovations come with by listening to the customers only. Okay, the recent one which we did. Okay, I was very, very happy. Okay, because I don't know, you guys are much latest gen, so you may not have had a chance to go to banks and then wait for loans and how to get a loan and all. Now you get it all through so many other apps. So at least I have seen both the generation where you need to wait to get something and then get it. There is an interesting feature that Yubi developed. It's something like this, right? Called express interest. Okay, you just say go and say configure and say that express interest on something. So whatever is your need and then whatever is the bank's offer, it will try to see and then auto express the interest to the banks. That means you just sit and say, hey, this is my requirement, and then you just forget. And it will work for you Go search all the banks and then get the right loan or anything, any other transaction that you want to get, and then it will come back to you and say. It was I was amazed to see the time it took earlier for any company. Maybe the guys who are running the startups know earlier how difficult it is to get a funding, and that time is now reduced, and you have choices. Now you say that I will express interest and I will choose. Those kind of things came out from listening to the customers and their pain points. When they say that it is very difficult for me to go to each and every bank to see what all they have and how do I raise money. Then if that is done in a tech, then they start using it very easy, and which in turn helps them to grow very fast.
Makes sense. Because you're talking about this express interest kind of a thing, I believe machine learning and artificial intelligence also starting to play a lot of role in your entire stack, right? Um,
Absolutely.
so where all does sort of machine learning fit into the picture? How have you been, developing intelligence into the platform? If you can shed a little bit light on that as well.
Definitely. I mean, whatever you said is all these innovations and understanding a customer comes through ML and AI. Okay. We have a very big data science team which works throughout with all these things and then brings out. Typically, the key areas, say for an investor comes or a bank comes and then finds a customer here. The first thing what he thinks, will the customers who are coming through you, are they reliable? Will they have a gain or loss? Okay. So the first thing that comes here is loss estimation. Okay. So ML model which does a loss estimation for everything, all the transactions, and for the users, and it calculates and says, okay, this much is the reliability on the transactions that you do, which is a very key thing for the customers who are coming inside. Okay, what is the how reliable can you get the customers from your platform? So it determines both, not just a borrower, and it determines the reliability of the investor also. For the borrower, he says, okay, his rating is like this. And fraud detection, okay, based on the past history and then learning how they detect the fraud. That's also an important thing where ML plays a very key role. We call it as a credit score and then worthiness, whatever names you want to do. The third thing where it is very important is in the recommendations. Whatever I said now, the express interest. How do you recommend the right fit for both the borrowers and investors? ML plays a very key role there. And investor matching algorithms automatically find there are hundreds of investors, hundreds of people who are having money, and thousands of people who want money. How do you match? Those matching algorithms work in this. I mean, that's a data science, and data is a very key, and I would call it as an intelligence of the fintechs softwares which are coming up.
Data is called the new oil, right? And I mean, data
Yeah.
scientists are the new oil rigs and refineries, if you want to call them that. Along with all this, right? Like, I think it's just, if you invest in a data science team, you'll find many ways of getting intelligence from the data. So one recent thing that we're looking at is doing loan against property or real estate loans, again in the real estate space. So now the data science team is saying that, look, we can get you information about how is real estate in a particular area doing, right? What's going to be the trends? And if you're trying to if a large builder is coming in asking for a loan because they're building something in I don't know what's like a popular place in Bangalore, Bellandur, or is that
Yeah.
not so popular now?
Yes. After the flooding, probably not, but yeah.
So the data science team might be able to give some information about that, right? So that it might not necessarily be about the entities involved, but it could be also about the space. So
Got it.
real estate, jewelry, so many spaces. So
Talking about data bringing insights from space actually brings me back to another question that on our YouTube channel had come up was how important is domain expertise while working on fintech, especially understanding finance, understanding economics. How important is it? To what degree do you think?
Domain expertise for engineers?
Yeah.
Um, I don't think. Okay, so anytime you go work in a domain, if you already have some domain knowledge, that's definitely an added advantage, right? So that's a given. Um, However, that's not like an important criteria when you're looking to get a foot into the door. Right? So at that time we're looking at your engineering skills, and clearly, how well you do later will depend some part on you being able to understand the domain and what are the requirements in that domain. But from engineering perspective, our primary evaluation criteria is that you're good as an engineer and you have the potential to learn, even in engineering, new spaces, new frameworks, new tools, new processes. But also, you'd expect that people will understand the domain, and that's the only way you can add more value.
Okay. Just to add to this point on whether domain knowledge is required to come inside or not. Okay. I would want to read or understand this query as what is required to enter. Okay, rather than domain knowledge is required or not. Okay.
Right.
The thing is that there are few characteristics fintech engineers should have, is what my opinion or my perception is. Like, first thing is, as he said, domain knowledge is not a must or a great thing that you should definitely have, but few other things are there. One thing is thorough knowledge. Okay, that is very very important in entering this industry and becoming a good contributing engineer who can make a dent, who can make an impact in this industry. When I say thorough knowledge, it's about whatever you are in, Java, Golang, whatever it is. You should be very thorough and strong in basics, so that you don't just keep learning that, and rather you spend in building something good. That's one. And then second is highly analytical skills. Okay, here everything is in numbers. Okay, so analytical skills are very very important here. For it will help him very lot, because the product team, business team, they talk everything in numbers. They will come and say, hey, okay, you have to calculate NPS like this, and you have to do a repayment schedule like this, and they will tell some formulas and all the other things. So being good in numbers will help a lot. And another thing, important thing is, you should enjoy what you do. So it's a very very critical thing that when they start enjoying, they learn well and they learn quickly, and they become very curious, and then ask a lot of questions, which is very very important, which makes you as a quick learner, because there are so many new things will be there. The new domains, new technologies coming, and then what to choose, why to choose, and which one to be used properly. So that is very very important. In the course, you will also become a domain expert if you are a good learner. So the simple two things which are required is be thorough in whatever you know, or be thorough in your basics. If you're an engineer, be thorough in engineering. Second thing is uh, enjoy the work, and be a good learner. That's all two traits which I
Let's
see.
add another perspective, right? Yubi is a startup, and the startup also requires a different kind of
Mindset.
attitude towards what you're doing. Right? You should have a lot more ownership, and you should feel like, okay, I need to go find out a little bit more before I will do this. You should also be looking at innovating around how you're going to solve problems, right? Because many a times we get deadlines which are um, quite difficult to meet. I mean, almost impossible also, but we have to find some way to solve it. Uh, and that kind of a mindset is also important for us.
Absolutely, fully agreed, Mil sir. I mean, here if you see in UB, engineers don't see themselves as engineers. They see themselves as maybe the parents of that product. They'll say, "This is my product. This has to come like this." They'll fight with the product guy and say, "Why this feature is like this? It should be like something like this." That is when he'll say, "Whether I am a product guy or a product guy." No, 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 no. This is our product. The customer should use it, right? See this metric that the usage is going down. So that's very very true. The ownership, and then the involvement is very very important than all other skills. All the skills can be, you can learn. I mean, life is a continuous learning.
So when we are on the topic of sort of what skills are required to get into fintech, and then what sort of culture is also required and attitude around that, and then I'd also like to ask this because there were people in the comments on our YouTube channel who were asking that when you're hiring, is it like you're looking at hiring a full stack engineer or a back end engineer or a data scientist, or are you hiring for specific to roles? Are you hiring specific to knowledge of tech stacks, or you're just looking at anybody who has the right set of skills can come in and do it? How do you go about this sort of growing your team?
The easy answer is all of the above. Right? I mean, we need full stack engineers. We need front end experts because there are front end problems that need somebody to deep dive and find a solution for. We definitely need a lot of back end engineers because there's a lot of the scalability, security of data, data modeling, integrations with other backend systems, all of that happens. The data science team is obviously looking for data scientists and data engineers because I think they play slightly different roles in the data science ML world. We also want people who are going to be very deep in certain areas, right? So depending on the need, say one of the things my team is building is a credit stack. So I do need people who are able to analyze that part of the problem well and come up with solutions that meet the requirements there. So in this particular case, I want somebody who's who strongly understands data modeling and data storage and how do you treat data, what are the right data sources. So there are experts that we need, but we also need people who can play the full stack role, people who can play backend. So all of the above.
See, yeah, I mean that's true. We had for various positions, and then all the technologies and other things. The key here is, okay, whatever Yubi is developing is just not a marketplace or other things. It's a just think big companies were getting a lot of funds. They'll be able to raise a lot of money. And the small companies or small enterprises, they're struggling to get money. And Yubi is trying not to solve, to build just a software. It is trying to solve a bigger problem in the country where access to money and then credit is there for several companies. So the biggest happiness that we go through here is seeing a lot of companies growing, and we connect them to get the right money at right time for them quickly through banks and other investors and so many things. So it is more towards creating a bigger infrastructure that is going to impact the growth of our country and our GDP. So people who think that they want to transform our country with a bigger financial operating system and create a bigger dent there is much more required. That is the attitude to solve bigger problems is a key thing that we see. And the skills are always you can learn because you need several skills. Tomorrow something else is going to come, you need to learn it. So you need to have that attitude of solving bigger problems and have the courage to take it and then run through it and solve it and make it.
Nice. I think that's a very well-rounded, I think, answer to people who are asking that question. I'd like to ask another question, which is because exactly we're talking about what UB is doing or what fintech itself is doing, which is beyond just sort of moving data from one place, whether it's like solving for some even existential needs of organizations, the need to raise money, all of these. So I'd ask both of your opinions on what do you think of as fintech? Like, is it like a place where a lot of innovation is happening, or do you think of it as like future of money, future of financial transactions, or do you think of this domain as something that's actually fundamentally bringing social change itself?
Okay, you are asking the overall fintech, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. See, at least how I see is, okay, um, this decade is a fintech decade. You had your e-com decade, and you have your all logistics decade, and so many things have come. This is a fintech decade where you see a big transformation happening across the country and outside also. In our country, it's much more. The time when you saw, when you were able to buy something, mm, you'll first ask is, do you have a change? You go to a shop, a corner shop, and then, do you have change for 500 for this? And you'll be talking. Today, that has changed. Even street shops, they use the technology. It's amazing for me to see how even who doesn't know anything, or we think that they don't know anything, they know much more about technology, they're able to use it. They say that, do you have Google Pay? Do you have UPI? Do you have this? And youngsters, they use so many finance software, and they say that, hey, did you download Zerodha? Did you invest in this? And it is totally transforming in several pockets, and it is bringing a great transformation in the country. So that in turn brings in more power. That is, I know days where when we studied, even to get an education loan, it takes longer time. Today, if you want to buy something, they say that buy now, pay later. BNPL. They say, don't pay, just buy. So it is actually fast forwarding you to your future. So I see the fintech era, or the decade that's going to change. It is just a starting. Okay, believe me, there's going to be a lot of changes, which I see it as, it is going to change the way money is being transacted, and it is going to bring a lot of innovation and power to people. Common man will be much more powerful, and then he'll be able to do so many things, and that in turn will lead to the social change. Because you don't need to think too much today. Okay, you just open a Google Pay account, and then other things, and then you can open a shop, and then you can start transacting, and that will in turn bring a social change of bringing everything to accountability also. So definitely, I think it's all three. That is, innovation is going to happen, much more is there, and it will lead to the way money is being transacted, and it will bring in a lot of social change. That's what my view is, and it's going to be very amazing to see coming years.
Yeah, so technology, whichever space it has touched, right, it's always brought about, significant amount of transformation. And we are seeing that happen now in the finance space, right, fintech. In some ways, I can understand why this was maybe a little bit slower than other areas, because when you're dealing with money, you're dealing with value and trust. And you have to sort of make sure that whatever alternate you come up with offers you at least as much as the existing or the current models provide, hopefully a lot more. Right? With fintech, actually, what the assuming that you provide the baseline trust and the value of how you're doing exchange of value, the next part that fintech provides is it gives you more control and more immediate control.
Yes.
And I think those are the areas where people. I mean, that's where it actually touches the rubber meets the road, right? That I'm able to do something on my phone, send money to, say, my kid is in some other city, and I can send it from wherever I am. I don't have to go to a bank. I don't have to fill out forms. So many of these things are, I've changed the way I can work and live. So I think, yes, it is social change.
Interesting. And I'll pick up some more questions that have been coming our way on our live stream. Gurpreet has asked, what mainly databases have you been using? Is it mostly SQL based or no SQL based databases?
Okay, straight answer is, we use both SQL and NoSQL, and we are exploring columnar also. Predominantly it goes with Postgres, Mongo, MySQL's instances. and always we are open towards. There are several products inside UB. UB is a bigger umbrella or marketplace where it provides so many products inside that. So or you can see the UB as a financial debt market operating system. So it gives so many things to others. So each one is having a specific need. So based on the need, we choose those databases, but predominantly we use both, is the short answer.
Got it. Got it. Um, there's, I think, another question which is about do you use any private blockchains or any decentralization solutions internally also?
The space we are in right now, no, we don't. But who's to know, how the future will unfold? Blockchain is blockchain is one of those other technologies that's going to bring about fundamental change in the way where we put trust. Right?
Right,
Whether
right.
today it's with the government agency that puts a stamp on a piece of paper, but that could change to something on a blockchain. So
I'm
right
sure,
now,
yeah, I'm sure this question is from a youngster, okay? Because
Yes, yes.
yeah, because we run hackathons internally, okay, and with the customer needs and other things, engineers, data scientists, all those people run hackathons to create innovative solutions and products which can improve the customer experience. Okay, one of those solutions came along with this. So those young guys came back and said that these are all the use cases where we can use blockchain. Okay. So we need to go towards this. This is giving all these things, and yes, I think those ideas are being mooted, and then they are trying to see the right place where it should be used, how it is, and then what are all the things that we can adopt.
Right, right, right. Um, I think another very interesting question, and maybe because they just want to delve deeper into like the first question where I had asked what does UB exactly do to somebody has asked as follow-up is what's exactly the business model of UB as in between the borrower and the lender, where does UB make money?
you're going for it, Devraj,
So
or
is it,
Please.
okay? So at a very base level, UB is a marketplace, and in any marketplace, the marketplace makes money in whenever there's a deal that actually happens. Right? It's my access to marketplace is granted to everybody. The bigger the marketplace on both sides of the market, them being enough people is what we want. So when there is a deal that happens, we make money, and we are looking at playing along in the larger ecosystem, meaning um, post the deal also, right? So in a loan, when the money is dispersed from the lender to the buyer, is only one part of the equation. After that, that money has to be paid back. So earlier in the year, UB's actually bought a company called Spocto, and which helps with the collection side. So we are trying to make a play in the larger ecosystem and the life cycle of the loan.
So as he said, all those transactions or it's not just transactions. The main difference between UB as a marketplace or a operating platform, or we call it as a possibility platform, is if there is a loan coming in, we just don't just link two people, the investor and then customer, and then we run away like an aggregator. No, that's not UB. Okay, UB is, it helps you to discover the right investors and then right customers, and then it executes the deal, and then it fulfills till the end. So all these three things are there, and in these transactions, there are different revenue models for different products and then services, and some, as he said, is it's on the transaction. Some we are maturing towards as a platform provider, as a operating system for them, where we provide the operating system services and then do also. So all these things are slowly evolving. Why I call this as an operating system is, say, it is not just providing a few things only about the loan. We have a collection system. So some banks want to attach their collection systems towards it and then get those services, and then those features to be added, they can keep adding it. So whatever is required for a full cycle of debt or the credit raising, end to end, is being provided and created as an operating system.
Right. Okay, interesting question. Again, I think it's somebody concerned about, because Mehul was talking about how when you collect the requirements from the user, sometimes using some low code flows, building things as being possible. So Vijay has asked that if AI and ML is giving the recommendations and things are getting built with low code, like will eventually front end, full stack, back end developer roles will not be required.
Okay, maybe I'll start afterwards. Mahul sir can add his view. See, it is true that A and ML is very, very important. And remember, it is like a brain. Okay, you may want a very intelligent person with good brain, but it's not that he should not have a face, because people look at the face, right? Same way the UI UX or the front end developers are. The two important things: the design UI and UX or the front end, and the brain. Both are very, very important. You can never discount that. Okay, why people choose some softwares over others? You are knowing so many things, right? You guys would have seen so many social media. Some social media and social apps you always go because of the user experience. The how easy it is for the person to do things. That makes a lot of difference. So always the front end, or we call it as channels, are very, very important, which is also going to evolve so much. That is, it is not going to just stop with your mobile or web or desktop. It's going to go towards your watch. Already you guys will be wearing those smartwatches where you are seeing the apps, and it's going to go headless. That is, the front end is always there. You can today write a meta program to all these things to get a voice conversational things. You guys will be already using like Siri, do this. Siri, get me a loan. So all those front end channels will evolve. It will transform. You cannot say that I'm an old HTML guy who knows only to do that. Then you will be not in the game. But front end will always be there, and back end, and then intelligence layer or your data science layer will also be there. Both are equally important. I mean, of course, you don't want just brain, right? You want a face also.
Right.
So just same point. I have the same point that software has been evolving right from when it started. Right? People were using those punch cards and getting it executed like that. Then you got higher level languages. The internet came about, and at every stage, people thought like, "Oh my God, with this, what will happen to the people in the technology space?" Right? The example that they took, right? Like, I mean, people who write HTML. I mean, right now, people don't write HTML. They write in React and Angular and higher level frameworks. So it's important that you evolve with the technology, you stay abreast, because it is moving quite rapidly in all directions. But the point is, it is going to keep, it's going to keep needing a higher level function available, which has to be provided by human intelligence and human inputs.
And actually, I have seen a nice trend. Okay, this front end guys, earlier it is just HTML and CSS. They were seen as hey, you are just writing some tags and other things, man. Now they are talking like a backend developer. Okay, they say that my unit test case is not running, and this is a MVC client end thing, and this is a backend MVC that we are creating this, and you cannot do just like that. And they evolved so much that front end is also having a separate releases. And they say that okay, 80% of the code we can write it in React and then use it for the mobile app also. So you cannot remove them. It's very difficult. they are part now, and they are actually gaining more importance. The full stack developers and then front end developers.
But the important thing is you have to, keep learning yourself, right? Because technology.
If you don't adapt to the new things that comes. In any place, whether it is front end, back end, data science, whatever it is, we'll be left behind. And I started my career as a C and then embedded programmer coding in a micro C and small chips and all. Okay, the same thing, same feeling came to me after some 5 years, thinking that okay, world is going towards .NET and Java. What will happen to me? So the obvious answer is okay. I also learned that, and then move towards it.
Got it. I think great answer. I think should sort of calm the nerves of people who are concerned that low code and AI probably might make them redundant.
Scalar Academy can play a good role over here.
Thanks. Yeah. Um,
You guys.
yeah. So, one question definitely like, looking forward to ask you all the while was, we, you guys are hiring people in your team. What does make sort of, let's say, UB or even FinTech an aspirational place to go to work for young engineers? What should it, what do you think attracts them?
See,
Um,
at least, yeah, please go ahead, sir.
no, you go ahead.
Okay, at least from my view, okay, what I see UB is there are two important things. One is freedom. Okay, UB is a very fast growing company, not just in money and in size, it's technology also. People are building very fast. So you get opportunity to learn a lot of latest technologies. So you bring in Java, Golang, you bring in some services, and then you build over and above it, you build algorithms, so many things to bring in. Here, engineers suggest what to do next. It's not me. Okay? They come and say, Devraj, we have to do this. The microservice should be built like this, and then that's why it will scale. And they come and then propose. So the first thing I see in UB is freedom. For an engineer, I'm still, I mean, little old and bald, but still at heart I'm an engineer. So for an engineer, the happiest thing is to learn and do many things and see that working with several people. So that freedom of choice of technology and learning new things and then building great products is there in UB. Second thing is opportunity. Opportunity is not just to grow fast. Okay, every company nowadays have, right? I mean, there's a lot of unicorns, a lot of other companies where you can go. Of course, you have the same things that you get outside. You will get a lot of money or from compared to other industry or so many things, cool features in the office, so many things will be there, all those things. But I see all those things as now normal things everywhere you get. But the second important thing is about the opportunity to create an operating system that is going to transform our country. It is going to give an opportunity. I always used to think, okay, when I was an engineer, why I was not able to take Linux and then create our own operating system like that and do some things. Now it's an opportunity to make a bigger dent or a positive impact for our country and grow GDP by building all these things and making sure money flows to right people at right time to grow the country. These two things I see as a great advantage in UB, where a person who is aspiring to do great things will get it. All other things you get like a very good pay that a fintech company pays or a great technology and so many things that perks that gives. There are a very big list. Okay, but other than that, these two things stays in my mind, seeing that freedom and opportunity.
Okay, so I mean, yes, those are two. But I will add some more that are more at a more ground level, maybe. Um, for me, it's the people I'm working with, and if I feel good about coming into work and spending time with all these people, that's something that I enjoy. And at UB, I find like the set of people that are there, I'm able to make friends with them. I'm able to have even non-work conversations with them, and some connect happens. So that's a strong reason that I see that this is good. From a career and industry perspective, this is a high growth area right now, and it's always good to be associated with high growth. I mean, there's obviously value that's being created, not just for the company, but for the customers and the larger ecosystem. So you do have a chance to impact the larger ecosystem also.
Great. I think fantastic. Even learners at Scaler
Just
also
Arnav,
use
just
my.
to add
Yeah.
on a lighter note, okay, we're talking about why to join UB or FinTech. Okay, I used to tell my engineers or whomever I know why to join a FinTech. Okay, normally the engineers will look for a good money and then great technologies to work. Okay, if you want more water, you go near a water lake or something like that. Like, so if you want more finance, you be near to the finance. If you want technology, you become a technology company and go near that. If you want both, go to FinTech, where there'll be finance as well as technology.
Fantastic answer, I think. And I have been, because I also teach a lot of batches at the Scaler as well, along with other things. And people have gotten more and more interested in the fintech space. And I think post watching the webinar, a lot of them might be definitely interested in joining UB as well. And,
Nice.
and I would like to tell my students also about that. And I think I like that answer when both of you were telling about whether or not domain expertise is required. I think whether or not it's required, if you get in, you will get the domain expertise. And in today's world, I think being financially aware is very important. And then working in finance is working in fintech one of the best ways to both improve your tech skills and also become financially aware, which is very important. So I hope you get a lot of people interested, and I hope some of my students also end up joining, working with you. Talking with you, it feels like they would have a great time working with you if they go there. Thank you so much, both of you, for taking out your time answering all these questions. Very knowledgeable session even for me as well.
Thank you, Arnav.
It was
Thank
very
you.
nice session.
Yeah, it was good to be on.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a good day.